What's going on, guys? Matt Weik here with another episode of Fit Business. Next to me, the man himself, Jami Mentis.
Hello, hello.
How are you, Jimmy?
I'm good.
Awesome. We have a special guest today, but before we start kicking things off, I want to get us in the right.
We're just gonna have her sit there and look pretty for now.
It's the only way that we look
That's
good.
It.
So today we're going to talk about fitness, more specifically, not only competition, but getting healthy, changing your lifestyle, the personal training side of things. Jimmy, I know you're opening up the pit. Obviously, you're kind of, you don't know if you want to open up to the public, make it more of like a member only type of private type of facility. How's that all going?
Well, the nicer it looks, the less I'm gonna have people come in. I'm actually keeping this all to myself. So in the beginning, when I was gonna open it, I was gonna open it up to like private members and stuff like that. Last night I trained it. And I'm like, nope, no one's coming in. It's all mine. So we're working backwards now. But it's good. It's good. Fitness is it's just my lifestyle, and it's great to have Jami on board today, talking about fitness and lifestyles. And I mean, she's the epitome of fitness and lifestyle. She lived it. She's coaching it. She has a team of coaches now, and we got Jami Debernard here on our show. She is the owner of Fit Body Fusion. Hello, Jami.
Hello. I really appreciate you guys bringing me on, and I'm excited to talk about the business side. That's something we don't talk about very much.
Right. It's just about, hey, can I lose 10 pounds? Hey, can I look good in bikini? Hey, how's my ass going to look better?
Right.
But Jami, tell us a little bit. I mean, I know and Matt knows, but tell our viewers a little bit about yourself, because you've come from the corporate world, right?
I have. So it's kind of interesting because I fell in love with fitness in high school. So I was actually working out with my mom in the gym, and this guy was a trainer, and his name was Sarge. Well, they called him Sarge. And he came up and he said, hey, what do you think about powerlifting? You want to be on my women's powerlifting team? And I was like 15, 16 years old. So back in the 80s. And I fell in love with it, and I watched Rachel McLish, and I was like, oh my gosh, the first Miss Olympia, she's so beautiful. I want to look like that. So I really fell in love with fitness. Took, a different route, through college, and, my career kind of took off in that direction. So I went the corporate world, the MBA. My dad was kind of at the root of that, saying, make money first and do what you love later. And so, really kind of pushed me in that direction. And I'm grateful for it, because I definitely gained some experience I wouldn't have had otherwise. I was executive vice president of a Fortune 50 and part of a startup that ultimately was purchased by First Data, which is the Fortune 50 that I worked for in the merchant card industry. So I was working in a very male-dominated industry at a young age and a different time in our history, right? So it really required me to step up and battle and really have to learn all aspects of business. And so I'm really grateful for all of that. And of course, I had this opportunity where once we sold the company and I fulfilled my contract with them, I was kind of able to decide, what do I want to do? Like, what is my passion still? And I never really intended to get where I am today, honestly. I just wanted to jump back and compete and do what I loved. I thought it was too old, honestly, at the time. That was those old tapes were playing. Right. That how am I ever going to be really successful, but I'll just get up on stage and what the heck.
Was that your first time competing, or were you in corporate world and you dabbled a little in competition?
I did dabble a little. So in like 1999, I did a couple shows. My kids were younger and I was actually working full time and teaching graduate school. So I was teaching, I was an adjunct professor at Golden Gate University for MBA students. So I was, that type A personality, working all day, teaching classes at night, and somehow finding a way to raise my kids and get some workouts in. My dad used to give me such a hard time because I wouldn't want him to know I was doing cardio. I had, of course, machines at home, and he called me and I'm trying to pretend like I'm not panting. Oh no, I'm not exercising right now. Because he's like, you're just obsessive, stop. But it's like in our blood. Like I love it so much. It's just part of who I am and what I have to do. So
So you leave the corporate world, and how many years later did you turn pro?
So I started competing around, well, past the 1999 thing. Started competing again around 2008, 2009, you know, hit some national shows, and it just wasn't, you know, it was kind of like my first time at the USA's last call. It's like, hey guys, I'm over here. You forgot me. And really had to dig in and figure out what did they want. And it was figure at the time, which to me is very close to where bikini is today.
Right.
I kept hearing you're too conditioned and things like that. So really figuring out what does that mean made me grow as an athlete and ultimately as a coach. You know, so I always tell people, if you don't get it right away, good. You know, you're going to grow, you're going to be better. So I won the USA's in 2011. So it was right before I turned 41. So then I qualified for Olympia at my second pro show. And so I was, you know, went from July at the USA's to the Olympia in September, which was crazy, crazy cool. And just kept going from there. You know, after the 2012 Olympia, I pretty much was like, okay, I'm good.
I see that beautiful frame behind you. That's the first thing. Is like, you know, yeah, that my friend is priceless.
Absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't give up that experience for the world. It was really, truly such an honor and you know, something I'll never forget. So.
All right. So how can I put this? Because you are type A, right?
Yes.
Right. So you're like, okay, I'm going to start a business. I'm going to personal train. Let me help a couple of people out. And then it turned into, how did Fit Body Fusion become where it is today?
Well, I started by opening a gym, which is something I always swore I wouldn't do. So I can completely relate to where you don't want people to come into yours because people don't take care of it like you do. So I did open a gym, and that definitely wasn't my thing. But having the gym brought in a lot of people, and so I got a lot of requests for coaching. I actually worked with one of the top coaches in the industry as the posing coach, as the Northern California, you know, kind of regional person. But what ended up happening is that I feel like he was relying more and more on me. He didn't come to one of the big national shows, and I had about 20 people doing it. And I think I ended up with 7 pro cards, you know, so I basically was doing all their peaking and everything else. So that was pretty cool. It just built my confidence, and people more and more were just like, we want to work with you. We want, you know, and so I started coaching more. And then of course people were, you know, let's start a team. Of course, the teams were becoming really popular and that kind of thing. And it really was almost accidental that it ended up happening that way. But with my experience in the corporate world, of course, my business hat was on. Right. So I'm going to do this. I want to do this in a way that makes sense. I wanted to look at all the things that were being done elsewhere and what was working and what wasn't working, and integrate those things into creating a structure that makes sense both from a business standpoint, from an organizational behavior standpoint, what's our message, you know, what kind of culture do we want, those kinds of things, so that there was the ability to grow without what I see a lot happen with coaches. Once they get to a certain size, the quality starts to decrease in terms of they're spread too thin. And so each person's getting a very small sliver right. of their time and attention. And, not that it's intentional, but we only have so much bandwidth, each one of us. So how can I do this in a way that still keeps quality and makes people feel connected and allows us to still grow? And so I feel like we've done a really good job at creating that model.
So now,
good.
You don't just train competitors. You also have, a team, obviously what we're talking about now, of trainers who also do different transformations. You know, they do weight loss. They also help the general public. So absolutely. I just want to clarify for the people who are listening that they're not listening like, oh, well, I don't want to listen to this anymore because it sounds like it's all competition or competitor related.
Right.
So you do have those type of people, that type of clientele. but you also have the everyday person who, hey, I want to lose 20 pounds. Hey, I want to lose 30 pounds. So let's touch on that a little bit. Obviously, the competition side of the business is very niche in the sense of, you're checking photos, you're constantly in contact with them, you're tweaking diet on a weekly basis. When we look at society these days, and Jimmy, you and I talk about this all the time, I feel like our society is accepting, and I'm trying to be politically correct with this.
Just say it.
We're accepting that it's okay to be overweight these days. It's okay to be fat. That's the big F word these days. And, if you say the F word these days, you become a bully, you're shaming somebody, and we have this mentality now where I feel like society is weakening to the sense that they're okay being complacent. They're okay being lazy because, nobody's going to say anything to them anymore because it's so taboo. I mean, we're looking at obesity rates of 30% in the US. People that are overweight is over 60% these days. Right. I mean, in terms of all of the countries, we're number one in terms of people that are obese. I mean, I think Mexico's number 2 at like 24, and I think the UK at 23, something like that. To me, it's not acceptable. So, how do you feel in today's landscape as being, a trainer and working on diets? Where do you see things going in terms of your business with personal training? Do you think more people will say, I don't want to do that anymore because it's acceptable? Or are you finding that more people are coming to you because they're saying, I want to take responsibility for my life. I don't want to be like the statistics that are out there today. And that's why they come and they seek you guys out.
Yeah, I definitely think the pendulum swings back and forth. And about half of our business is that lifestyle transformation client. And a lot of the people that are attracted to us because they've tried all the diets out there. I mean, we're in a time where there's more access to information, to workout facilities, to, diets, which I hate that word, right? There's more access to that. And yet we have a bigger obesity epidemic than we've ever had. Right. So for me, I feel like the gap is that, people take on these challenges or, these little short-term things that don't really ultimately turn into a lifestyle. And so the whole yo-yo dieting thing is, become, people gain weight, lose weight, gain weight, lose weight. They're not really actually embracing something that changes their habits and lifestyle. And as we know, that's the hardest thing to do. To actually change your habits is really tough. To say for 3 months, I'm not going to eat any carbs, that's not so tough, right? I mean, anybody can do something for a short period of time, but then you're done and then you're going to start jamming pizza and cookies in your face, right. So I definitely think there's people in both sides of the camp. I think there's those people that have just gone, forget about it. It's acceptable to be overweight and to, love my body and love my curves. And, we all have to make our own decisions. But what happens is those people, once the doctor says, hey, you have this, and this medical problem, if you don't lose weight, and it's very unfortunate because it's much harder once those.
Yeah, it's that wake up call.
Yeah, those bad habits are so instilled, they've got to work so hard to get back. But for some people, it requires that wake up call. Right. I think other people are inspired, which is really interesting that, all of our business not all, but the largest part of our business that is those transformation people are those people looking at the competitors going, wow, I'd love to do something, maybe not get on stage, maybe not get to that point, but I'd love to learn, what are they doing? How can I apply this in my own life? And so a lot of those people really look up to the competitors, and that's when they reach out to us and say, hey, I'm not looking to get on stage, but help me, create the habits that help these people to get where they are. So I definitely think there's people in both camps. There are those people that come because the doctor just said it's do or die, and then there's those people that are just inspired and just want, so that's kind of transformation versus lifestyle is how we kind of categorize the lifestyle people are the people that, maybe they become a little complacent. Maybe they're not obese, but they're not in great shape either. And, a lot of people who used to be athletes, but then, in college or something, and then kind of went off and, gained weight and just didn't, kind of stay on board with exercise and things like that. And so, they have that background and they know what it takes, but they just need the structure and the accountability.
Well, I think go ahead, Jimmy.
You sure?
Yeah, go ahead.
Come on, guys.
He's bigger than me. I'll let him go.
This all the time anyway. I hear this. I hear that your coaches and yourself, of course, are huge influencers. Like, and I'm talking about social media influencers. I mean, they're huge influencers because of their knowledge. And here's what I want to ask you. And I'm sorry if I'm putting you on the spot. What makes Fit Body Fusion so different than all the other? I don't want to use teams, okay? Than any other business
in the space. Yeah. I mean, there's a number of things. I talked a little bit about the fact that I don't want any one coach to have so many clients that they can't really personalize things, because that's really important. A lot of times we're personalizing things to the level of helping our clients advocate for themselves with their doctors. Maybe they don't understand that something that's going on with them isn't okay or normal, and they need to, go and push for a blood test or something like that. I mean, little things like that, or just personalizing. If we're working with a transformation lifestyle person, I've got to give you something you're going to do.
Right.
So, I mean, if I just give you some random workout and you absolutely hate it, you're not going to do it. So the personalization is really important. The relationship is really important. When that client knows I care about them, they're going to work harder for me. So that's a big part of it. As you know, I send my coaches through a lot of additional.
Yeah, explain that, because Matt, listen to this, because Jami was explaining this to me, and it's like, man, I don't even know if I can put myself through it. Please, yes.
It's tough. It's tough. So I do put all my coaches through leadership training, and it's very intense. I mean, these are 3-weekend long. I mean, it's boot camp for leaders kind of thing. And it's really more about personal development and self-development, because, if they're going to be the very best they can be for their clients, they've got to keep working on themselves. They have to be able to approach their clients with empathy, with, compassion, with confidence in what they're doing. So obviously, yes, of course, we're training and educating on the side to understand more about nutrition and exercise, and those things are obvious. But what about, what does it really take to change? There's a ton of information. We could all read a nutrition book. We can all read, how much has exercise trained since Arnold's book,
right.
Back in the day, right? I mean, we're doing the same things, there's only one way to build a bicep, and it looks something like this, kind of thing. So at the end of the day, like, what makes the difference? When you have somebody coming to you and they're enthusiastic and they're believing in you, they have to believe in themselves first. So we really work on those leadership qualities in the coaches. It also bonds us together. So, we are constantly doing communication, calls, things like that. We're getting together. We're talking about what kinds of things are you running into with your clients? What struggles are you having? What triumphs are you having, and why? And what feedback do we have from the rest of the coaches where maybe they've been able to get over a hurdle or overcome something? And so it's that connection and that support of each other that allows us all to grow. I think there's so much competitiveness, and competitiveness can be good. It's not a bad thing in the right context. Cooperation is also a really great thing. So when you can marry those two things, yes, we want to keep being competitive, especially with ourselves, to get better and better. And we want to cooperate to all grow together, to all learn more, to all find ways to support the people that we work with. And I feel like it really does elevate, what we bring to the table.
I guess here's a common question that I think a lot of business owners are faced with, and a lot of them don't know how to correct the situation. And that is, whether it's corporate America or we're talking about a team of trainers, you're always going to have one or maybe even a few people who, they're the alpha. They want the attention. It's me. I should be running this program. I should be running this team. Who is Jami? I can do this myself. How do you create a team that, and I hate the whole cliche of there is no I in team. How do you create an environment where everyone is looking at each other equally and saying, hey, if I can't help this person, I have a teammate who can, or vice versa, and where everyone is working together, or maybe you're working with somebody, but somebody is more knowledgeable and maybe a condition that maybe one of the clients has, and you can, bounce ideas off each other. How do you get that environment in, I guess you can say the workplace, even though it's not necessarily that everyone has to be there at the same time.
Right.
But how can you get that team on the same page where no one thinks that they're better than someone else?
That is such a good question. It really is, and it's not easy. I think that is the question.
Because you have competitors, and let's face it, a lot of competitors, they walk around like, I guess for lack of better terms, their shit doesn't stink. They think that they're the best.
Right.
It's not always easy. I will tell you, one of the things that I've realized over time is I always promote from within. I want to work with someone for at least 6 months, probably closer to a year. They're on the team before I would consider bringing them on as coaches. I coach a lot of people who are coaches. I coach a lot of people that even have their own teams and things like that. I mean, there's even people I coach that people don't know I coach them because they have their own teams. So I mean, I have a lot of access to a lot of those people, and I have time and the ability to evaluate who I think is a good fit for us. And part of that is certainly their ability to work with other people really well. I feel like because at this point, and in the beginning, of course, it was much harder, and we did have to weed out people. I mean, there were people that just weren't a good fit for us. They were more lone wolves. They weren't teammates, and that's okay. It just didn't work out, and that happens. And sometimes we have a conversation and say, hey guys, it's just not a good fit. That's okay. What's ended up happening, though, is over time, because people have become so aware of what we stand for and what our culture is, that we really attract the kind of person we want to have. It's really interesting how that happens. Like attracts like. So in the beginning, in building, getting to the point where people did understand what we were all about, certainly there were ups and downs and, times where we had to make adjustments and we had a bad apple here and there, and we had to take care of that. And so at this point, I have an amazing team. Like, I do not have one person on my team that I would say is that person who can't work with everyone else or who doesn't support the other people. We even take clients and transfer them to other coaches if that's appropriate. I have a couple coaches that are just lifestyle transformation or really focused in that area, some with medical background, things like that. So certainly if we have somebody who's got some more complex issues going on, we want them to be with a person who can really support them the best. So there's we do have coaches that, that focus on different areas. And I'll tell you the other thing that's great about my coaches is they'll speak up and say it. They really truly want what's best for their clients. And so, I mean, I'm really blessed. I mean, certainly I created the all the perfect situation for these amazing things to grow. But they're the ones that are doing it. Really, they truly are. And the leadership training courses I talked about are really crucial too, because we go to them together. And they put us in situations that force us to rely on each other in situations that feel very life or death. And so it gives us the opportunity to learn to lean on each other when we're scared, when we're emotional, when we're exposing ourselves, not literally. But in this industry, you never know.
We're going to need a disclaimer for this episode.
But exposing, those vulnerable sides of ourselves. And in doing that, it allows when these other situations that don't feel so intense come up.
Right.
It's such a big deal. I've dealt with way harder than this. So I think that's important.
So I have two questions, and I'll do one now, and one Matt can get one in there too. But I have two questions. What is Fit Body Fusion University?
So the university is something I created really to help people understand the basics, especially of the nutrition. This is for clients, right? It is for clients. It's for clients, and of course, when I have coaches come on board, they go through the university as well. So, clients that want to really understand what they're doing at a different level, and just how we're going about structuring their program and why. That's what it's for. And of course, I use it for our coaches as well. With when we bring on a coach, they have to be with us, like I said, for an extended period of time. At the point we start talking about them becoming a coach, the first thing they do is they go through the university. And then at that point, they start coaching tandem with me. So we coach together a number of clients until I get comfortable, and then they'll start taking on some of their own, and then I'll be checking in a little bit here and there. And then of course, as time goes on, as as they get more and more comfortable and I get more and more comfortable, then they start to fly on their own. So that's kind of our process of bringing on a new coach. And so it's a couple years typically in the making before somebody's actually coaching for us. Everybody who's with me has been with me for years and years. So
they're definitely part of the family before they even consider being a coach.
Absolutely. And obviously a lot, I have feedback from all the other coaches too before we consider this. We consider bringing somebody on board in that sort of fashion. And usually people are pretty, I take really good care of them. So people are pretty excited and appreciative to be able to come on board. I really believe in, taking care of,
What's the biggest struggle you've had with clients towards coaches?
I would say the biggest struggle is the clients that aren't fully committed.
Well, nobody's fully committed until they see results.
Well, and they don't see results unless they're fully committed.
Right. Jimmy, I think what Jimmy's saying is people who aren't fully motivated, they don't have the intrinsic reason as to why they're actually there. They have a doctor saying you got to lose weight. They have a spouse or a family member saying, hey, you got to lose weight. Whatever the case may be. It's not like they're coming to you saying, hey, I want to do this for me. There's some other, external factor that's saying you should be doing this. So mentally, they're just not there. Is that kind of where you're going, Jimmy?
I don't think anybody, including me, and I'm pretty sure both of you, never said by yourselves, I need to get in shape. Something from the outside, or you saw something, or you felt something that clicked, and you said, hey, you know what? I got to do something about it.
I feel like most of the time when somebody comes on board, something has happened, like you said, that's gotten them excited. And usually just the enthusiasm of starting something new is enough to get them far enough to start seeing the results, to then when it starts to become, one of those things. I think the hardest thing is when you have people that come on board and they don't have that excitement and that enthusiasm, or they fizzle out too quickly to start getting the results. So, I would think that in just about any health or fitness sort of program, it's like keeping people engaged, against their will.
Well, Jamie, not everybody is excited to train and exercise. It's like going to a doctor.
You're right.
You're not excited. You and your team and your business is basically a health and fitness, doctor. I don't use the word doctor, but right. So not everybody is walking through the front door or emailing you guys saying, hey, I'm really excited about this. They're not. I'm not most of the time, but I see the results. So how do you approach that? How do you take that approach and you kind of circle it around to basically there's motivation there from the person, right? But I think it's the inspiration they're lacking.
Sure. I think that it's really this is where it's really important to have that ability to be empathetic and to pick up on the person's cues, because some people need the whole come on, suck it up, buttercup.
The tough love.
JFDI, just get out there and do it, right? And other people really need a little bit of a softer touch. And that's where having our coaches really have that level of EQ to be able to kind of tap into where's this motivation going to come from. Typically with those situations, and we're an online coaching business, so a lot of our communication is through an app that we use. And at the same time, we will get on the phone when we need to. And sometimes when I see somebody struggling like that, I need to hear their voice. I need to hear what's going on with you. And so that I can have interaction to determine, is this somebody who just needs to be told, look, you're giving me a lot of excuses. You know, we could all come up with plenty of them. These are excuses.
Right.
You know, go. You're going to go and you don't want to work out. You're going to go and you're going to leave that gym so grateful that you did. So you just got to go. You just got to go. So sometimes it's a matter of just kind of giving somebody that tough love. And then other times, you know, people really are just struggling in their lives and they just need somebody to relate and they just need somebody to go, it's okay, you know, and help them kind of overcome that hurdle and just love themselves enough to give themselves the gift of taking care of themselves. Right. So I feel like it's really important to be able to, and this is where a lot of diets fail because they're diets. You know, anybody can give you, you know, here, eat this at this time, this and this and this time. You know, where does that personal touch come in where I can tune into you? You know, what's holding you back? What's really holding you back? Are you afraid of success? Are you afraid of failure? Cool. Are you, you know, are you depressed? Are you feeling sorry for yourself? Is there something else going on? You know, are you just being a baby and you just don't want it to be hard? It's too hard. You know, I mean, and to be able to speak to whatever it is in that situation so that hopefully you can help that person jump that hurdle. Because it's amazing, as you know, like if you can get someone to jump that hurdle and to start actually believing in themselves and seeing the results, then it starts becoming that snowball starts going downhill and building on itself. You know, I feel like that's the benefit that I had and that so many of us had. You know, I started at such a young age and I got to go, wow, this actually changes my body. Like, this is cool. Right. You know, I can actually create this thing, you know, and that got me so excited, you know, but if I hadn't ever gotten over my own, you know, at the time insecurities, because women didn't go into the heavyweight gym at the time. Right. It's only got there. Of course, I lived in Baton Rouge and LSU was right there and I was a teenager. So, you know, being in there with the LSU guys wasn't like.
You got no problem. No problem whatsoever. I mean, it's amazing. You got, you know, Jami is part of the whole corporate world and then the fitness world that she combined both together. And she's actually just killing it. I mean, there's women worldwide, right? Worldwide are just loving the results and the experience. And that's what I'm hearing, you know, because, you know, lately, you know, Jami and I have been talking, this whole fit body fusion, the feedback that I've been getting is it's the experience. Everybody's getting the results because they love the experience. And that's what you were just talking about. They love coming to you. They're not scared of, oh my God, my coach is going to do this or my coach is going to say this. They actually look forward, even if they have a problem, even if they haven't followed their diet, that, you know, they'll come and say, hey, you know what, you know, I'm wrong. And it's amazing. And kudos to you because, you know, there's a lot of coaches out, there's a lot of teams out there, there's a lot of businesses out there that say they coach people, but they're just, it's a cookie cutter diet. Right. They take their money, and if you don't do their diet, then you're gone. You know, they just keep taking your money, and that's it. But you know, congratulations. I think it's been, yeah, you're doing everything right. I'm sure you know your wrongs, but it's not showing out in the public. But it's congratulations.
I appreciate it. It's been really exciting to watch this grow. And the thing that excites me the most is to hear other people talking about their experiences. I mean, you know, to read our Google reviews, there's, I don't know how many, you know, 150 or more Google reviews. And they're not just like 5 stars. They're paragraphs. The difference that their coach, not me, you know, their Fit Body Fusion coach has made in their lives. I mean, some are for me, but I mean, so many of them are for so many of our coaches. And I think that just speaks so much to, you know, what we're doing. And the other thing that really excites me is to hear so many of these people who are part of the team talking about how supported they feel, not just by their coach, but by each other.
Right.
And I mean, there's people who connected from across the world and have gone to visit each other or have, you know, gone to work out together or gone to each other's show if they're competitors or, you know, whatever, or just stay connected through the internet. And just, you know, when they're having those days where they feel they can't do it. One of our clients started this thing about, you know, hitting their perfect zeros on all their macros, hitting, you know, all their goals, and that they would post it. And then the next person would repost theirs, you know, I made it 2 days, I made it 4 days. Cool. It started this whole thing. And so it's that it's that excitement that doesn't only come from me or come from just the coaches, but from each other and the core and the culture that we've built. And so that gets me so excited, because that just, there's only so many people we can touch individually. And, we can even touch through the people that are, part of our team. But when we're all doing it for each other, what can we accomplish? It's just,
you've created that camaraderie, and kudos. Matt, what do you got? What's left?
Nothing. I think for the people who are listening to this on the podcast, so whether it's, Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, or you're watching it here on YouTube live, I'm sure there are people that are out there who are thinking, this is something that I want to learn more about. I want to find out more details. How do I become, a member? How can I train with you? How can I train with your team? What's the best way for our audience to get in touch with you, your team? Do you guys go through, Facebook, your website? What's the easiest way for the listeners to actually engage with you guys? Even if they just want to learn more, maybe they want to, check out some of your social media posts and stuff. What's the best way for them to reach out?
Well, definitely Instagram, and we're Fit Body Fusion on everything, so we're easy to find. So Instagram, you can, a lot of times people will go through and read, the types of comments people are making, or look at the kind of posts. We do free consultations, so if somebody is interested in that, they can go to our website, fill out the consultation form, whether it be a transformation, a lifestyle, or a competition, and then they'll be paired with a coach, or they can choose who they'd like to speak with, and they get to have a conversation. I'll usually spend 30 minutes to an hour talking to somebody who sends in a consultation form, and just talk to them about what are their goals, what are they doing currently, what would our program look like for them, and whether or not it's a good fit for them, because that's important. We want people, if they're coming on board, to be ready to tackle something like this. So it's important to have that conversation first. I encourage people, if you're thinking about any kind of coach, make sure you meet them and have a conversation with them first. You should never sign up and send money to somebody if you haven't connected with them first. So that's my 2 cents on that. But certainly, yes, Facebook, Fit Body Fusion, any of those places, you're always welcome to reach out to me. I'm sure you guys will put my spelling of my name, Jami Debernard, there's no E on the Jami, up there. And all my social media is just my first and last name. I kept it simple. So
perfect.
So one last question. Will we see the Jami Debernard grace the stage again?
That is the question. I
wanted to ask that question right from the beginning, but I was like, let me just wait.
I've gone back and forth. I'll be 50 next year, so I've said, maybe for my 50th birthday I'll do it, just for fun. The tough thing is I coach so many people now, especially pro athletes. I don't really want to be up there with my clients, and I also want to be able to focus on their experience and not be so wrapped up in mine. So probably not just based on that. And as our team grows, about a quarter of the people I coach currently are pro athletes, and I do coach a lot of masters pros as well. So if I did do like a masters show, they're going to be in it, and it's probably
you just don't want to beat them. She's like, hey,
I don't know. I've got some pretty awesome athletes.
Yeah. Thanks for the check, and here comes a loss.
Well, I'm literally traveling at this point every week. I don't think I have a weekend home for the next 12 weeks. So, I'm at shows constantly, and it's just, I love it so much, and it's my focus. So, there were times I was thinking I would. At this point, I'm thinking I'm just too busy to. Yeah,
but you're always going to have it. You're always going to have it in the back of your head. You're going to compete one day. I've been retired 18 years. I'm still going to compete one more show.
I can't wait. I'm going to be there.
That'll be a long time. Jami, thank you so much.
You.
Thank you guys so much for having me on, for giving me the opportunity. I love the show. I've really enjoyed listening to the episodes. I think you guys are putting some great information out there, and you're doing something different, which is really great. So I appreciate being able to be a part of it.
Awesome. And I'll probably bump into you in the next all these, maybe all 12 weekends. We don't know. But
this weekend I'll probably see you in.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, anything else, Matt?
That's it. Jami, thank you again for coming on. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Check it out on social media. We'll have it up on our Fit Business Facebook page. Obviously, if you're interested in learning more about Jami and her business, we'll put everything in the show notes over on YouTube, or like she said, it's Fit Body Fusion on every social media platform that's out there. Again, thank you so much, Jami, for coming on the show. And I hope you guys had a fantastic episode.
Peace.